All right, good afternoon, everybody. We're here at the New Milford Cafe in Rootstown, Ohio, home of state champion Garrett Linton at 195 pounds, the first ever state champion from Rootstown High School. And sometime today we hope to have a one-on-one interview with him and a few other wrestlers that we're hoping show up today from the state tournament. It was a great experience again down at the state tournament this year, watching the action take place and seeing the teams and the individual wrestlers compete through the season. And we were glad to be able to bring a lot of live matches to you guys and duels through the season. When we sort of recapped our season, Mark, next to me, we had, we were just talking about the teams we had on air with matches.
Well, we had CVCA, St. Ed's, Oregon Clay. We did Waynedale match.
Yes. We had Crestwood. We had Coventry, which featured state placers on those teams.
Yeah. And all these matches are available to anyone that sees this. You just go to our website, www.nwtv.com, and there's a YouTube link that you can watch all these matches.
Right, and the action that we brought this year was phenomenal as far as the duels that we covered through the season, and we want to make it even better next year as we go into the year. There's going to be some significant changes next season in Ohio high school wrestling in the fact that there will be a state dual tournament champion at each division
I'm excited about that. I think it's going to bring some, just here in Northeast Ohio, the great teams that we have that don't have the up top wrestlers that don't get to state, but they're just solid teams.
What it's going to be, Mark, is it's going to be a pure wrestling type of tournament where, like you said, a wrestler that can go out there and he's a 500 wrestler and keep himself from getting pinned could mean the difference of their team winning or not and advancing on to the next round. And that's what will make it exciting.
Yeah, and Lenny, there's nothing like a good dual meet.
No, we know that. We've covered enough of them. That's what we do. We cover dual meets. And it's going to make it even more exciting for us next year because we're going to be able to do a lot more coverage because there's going to be a lot more dual meet top teams going at it, trying to advance to the state tournament. From what I understand, the state tournament will take place. We don't have dates yet. I don't have dates. There might be a date set already, but it'll be a one-day event featuring the top teams, and it's either the top 8 or top 16 teams from each division that will face off in a one-day dual tournament event at the Columbus Schottenstein Center in a separate weekend, away from the regular formatted individual state championships that'll probably take place at the same time frame, first part of March.
Right. Yeah. Just like this year. I think it's the week before or the week after the individual tournament is when they're going to do the dual meet. I think it's the week before.
I actually think there's a couple weeks break in between because you have your districts and sectional qualifiers.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be a whole month ahead. So look for that to take place sometime early February, first or second week of February. We will be down in Columbus watching the dual state tournament, one-day tournament.
Yep.
I plan on making the trip.
We need to talk to the OHSAA so we can come down there and do them, but that's kind of hard.
We'll try and do what we can to get key matchups on as the teams try to advance through the playoff rounds and go down to the Schottenstein Center. We're going to have teams such as Crestwood around here that is a very solid team here in Portage County. Yeah. The young Rootstown team, I'm sure it'll have some good wrestlers on it. Garrettsville. Any team, from what I understand, that has 8 or more wrestlers are going to be eligible to go ahead and compete in the dual tournament format.
That's my understanding also, Lenny.
Right.
I kind of looked at the rules and how they're going to do it. I know that they're going to do it like on a Sunday, almost like the tournaments they have now. But every team that has 8 or more, they'll start. It's almost like a basketball.
It'll be a single elimination tournament.
Yep.
And they'll advance all the way through till you get your top teams at each district or region, however they qualify it.
Well, I'll go out on a limb right now, and I think St. Ed's wins Division
1. St. Paris Graham might be a front runner in D2. How about that one?
Yeah. D3 is going to be a battle.
It'll always be a battle. They got there's so many teams out there at the D3 level that bring parity. Waynedale will be a favorite, I'm sure. A team like Delta, which is loaded with junior high. I believe Delta had 5 or 6 junior high state placers at the junior high tournament just past week, and Waynedale added 2 more high state placers to their team. They had the state champ and a runner-up, I believe.
I did see that. And Nelsonville, York has a tough team.
Nelsonville, York will be tough. So it'll be good. Teams such as CVCA in the local area will have a tough dual team as well. That we will be able to catch a lot of the action.
Yeah,
with our connections.
When I think of the teams, and I have went over the Alliance District. I haven't really got into D3 or anything yet. But I still think CVCA is probably the team to beat again in this area,
right.
at least in Division II.
Right.
And Massillon Perry, boy, did they have a great state tournament.
Yeah, Uniontown Lake's an up-and-coming team.
Lake has a good young team.
A lot of good youth feeder program there, and they got some good young wrestlers.
Yeah.
That'll add to that team as the next couple of years go through.
Well, they go through that Menor meat grinder, and a couple kids didn't get down to Columbus, like Matt DeGroff.
Right.
They're.
But in a dual meet format, that'll take care of itself.
Yep. Yeah, they will be there
as they wrestle through these matches.
And one thing about dual meets is the coaches switch the weights around, and you don't know exactly who's.
It gets very
tactical.
Strategic.
Yep.
It's a very strategic dual format, so
right.
That'll be a lot of fun next season as the season rolls in. When we get the next year and we have all the rules down. We'll try and set up as many matches as we can get out there to everybody to see because, again, I like the idea of doing it. It'll be the first time in the state of Ohio. It's sort of mirroring after the PA tournament, the way they do it in the formatting. So it should be very, very good season next year.
Yeah. I don't know when the season actually starts next year. I know it's going to be in the beginning of December, but we usually open up our season with the CVCA dual meet.
Right.
Do you have Clay?
We will have St. Ed's back again, and I believe it will be at CVCA because we did back-to-backs at St. Ed's a few years ago, and they agreed to come back here a couple times in a row. So we'll probably be setting it right back up down there at the gym again.
Great.
For good action. And St. Ed's is going to have a lot of changes. They were a very senior-laden team this year, but I guarantee you one thing. They'll come ready to wrestle, and they'll have people in those weight classes that can compete at the state tournament. They did in the senior area.
Martin, Suvac, Davis,
Kuhar, they're all gone. They'll return Edgar Bright. Dean Heil will be back. He'll be going for a fourth state title.
Right there.
Right in that duel alone, you'll have two wrestlers that will be going for 4-time state championships. And Dean Heil from St. Ed's, and Nathan Tomasello from CVCA.
Oh wow!
So
too bad they're in a little bit different weights.
Yeah, but again, they did wrestle each other as freshmen.
At
that tournament, at that duel, and
actually,
Heil came out in front by a point, I believe it was.
Yeah, at that duel, and then at the Medina tournament.
At the Medina tournament, exactly. As we reflect back on some of the wrestling we've covered, but that'll be exciting in itself, following those two wrestlers and getting to cover some of their action, as they're going to be going for 4-time state championships.
Wow.
And there's how many in the history of the state of Ohio?
I think
less
it's somewhere
20.
around 16 to 18.
Less than 20 in the whole state.
Yeah.
Through all the years of wrestling. So
a lot of fans or a lot of naysayers or whatever say that it's watered down in Ohio because of 3 divisions. But you know what? If you're a 4-time state champ in Ohio, you're pretty daggone tough.
Correct.
All right. We're hoping to get some wrestlers here.
The NCAA tournament's going on right now, which features a lot of wrestlers on there from the state of Ohio that are competing and becoming All-Americans. For Ohio State, everybody knows the name Logan Stieber. He'll wrestle in the finals tonight against Jordan Oliver at 133 pounds. You can catch that on ESPN, 7:30 p.m. The championship matches will be aired.
Right.
And again, for Ohio State, the other two 4-time state champions in high school did end up placing and medaling. They will be wrestling for placement. Cam Tessari will be wrestling for 3rd at 149, and I believe Hunter Stieber will be wrestling for 5th place at 141. And as I was watching, Nick Heflin, also from the Buckeyes, is going to medal at some point. He's either going for 5th or going for 7th. And Capoliano.
Yeah, Capolitano.
Capolitano.
I know. I'm pretty sure he's going for 7th and 8th.
And he'll be going for 7th. Yeah. So Ohio State has a very young team. No seniors. They'll have 5 wrestling for All-American status tonight. The team that's dominating the way through there is Penn State. And they're led by another Ohio great wrestler, David Taylor.
Yeah,
He
I did
finished
look at
his
his
freshman
bracket.
year last year, runner-up with the upset.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, was it an
loss.
upset or not?
Well, it was a
It
final,
was
and both
kind
kids
of.
were in the finals. And
Yeah.
but he's hungry to finish at the top this year. Penn State features 5 wrestlers out of the 10 weight classes. They'll have 5 wrestlers competing for number 1 tonight.
Wow. They probably already have the team
weight
championship locked up.
It looks like that's the way, and they have I believe, 1 or 2 other wrestlers that are going to All-American as well.
Yeah.
So
I did see the bracket where Taylor has pinned everybody so far. He's a monster.
He is unbelievable. He's on a mission for
Yeah.
sure. And then you have Nico Megadoulis, the 25-pounder, who was not predicted to be in the finals, and he's in the finals tonight against Madonna, the great returning champion from Iowa. And then at 41, is it 41 or 49? 49, Molinaro. Molinaro will go for a championship. And
he's a tough nut.
And then you have David Taylor at 65.
Do they got an 84-pounder?
74, you have Ed Ruth going for Penn State for a final.
Ruth, right.
And then at 84, Quentin Wright, the 6th seed again this year. Last year he was a 9 seed. He won the whole thing. Ended up being the NCAA champion. This year they seed him 6th, and he's right back in the finals again.
Wow.
So he's on a mission. So Penn State and Cal Sanderson's got that program rolling. The Big Ten wrestling itself is just the strength of that whole tournament. When you look at Minnesota, Penn State, Ohio State, Wisconsin, and Iowa, that is the meat of that tournament.
I think there's 4 of the top 5 teams are Big Ten teams. I think
Cornell's right there battling for second, right?
Yeah,
out of the Ivy League. But I'm sorry, not Wisconsin. I shouldn't have mentioned, but Iowa.
Yeah.
Iowa and Minnesota, Penn State, and Ohio State, all teams from the Big Ten that are doing well at the tournament. So again, we're getting to see the wrestlers that we covered over the years. I know more. I'm more familiar now with the wrestlers coming into the college level. Being that they're stepping up from high school, and we've actually been there to watch them wrestle.
That's one thing, with us bringing the live matches and stuff. If like Jesse Gunner shows up, we've watched these kids from their freshman year, and they're all great kids, and it's just not. It's heartwarming to me to see these kids exceed and just do good with themselves.
Right, the sport of wrestling is it's a small realm of people that follow it, but it's a close-knit group. So.
Yeah, we are a close community. I do want to thank Tim here from the New Milford Cafe again for letting us do this show from here. I walk in and I see all these pictures on the walls of the Rootstown wrestling team, T.J. Fox from Field.
Right.
They support the local athletics here, and that's great.
I'll tell you, the Portage Trail Conference had a great year at state tournament. When you think about all the wrestlers they had make it to place, you run down the wrestlers that we got to see and cover matches. Crestwood had a few placers, correct? Garrettsville. Garrettsville had their first ever, what was it? Finalist, right? Yeah. And they also had, because before their state highest placer was John Drum, who is a sponsor of our website, and John Drum was finished 4th for them 1 year at Garrettsville, and this year they had 2 wrestlers succeed that.
Yeah, right? 2 runners-up.
2 runner-ups. And they also had another placer. They had
their
heavyweight was 7th or 8th.
7th, and that's another heartwarming story. I can remember watching him his freshman year. I think his record ended up being like 2-30 or something. And I'm not saying this to downgrade, but I watched him progress through his whole career, and he never stopped working.
Yeah, to watch these kids compete down there and finish where they do. A kid like Jesse Gunner, who, his freshman year he finished 6th, I believe, at districts.
Yeah, I think 6th.
And then his sophomore year he was the alternate, state alternate. His junior year, state alternate.
5th or 6th. I know that he lost the go-to match.
He lost go-to matches, right? And then this year to win it, to go down to the state tournament and end up wrestling and finishing. Third overall in the state.
And he beat the kids like Mike Ricks, our defending state champion. Right. That I think Ricks majored him at the Alliance District.
Yeah, it's momentum, and it's what you do when you get there. So, and for him that was a great accomplishment. I hope to have him come in here today. I know he was pretty excited about the opportunity to come and talk with us,
Right.
talk about his accomplishments and how he, how it felt to get to that state tournament. And I can tell you from my own standpoint, having two boys that were able to go down there through high school and walk through that tunnel, that's every wrestler's dream, is to be able to go down to that tournament and walk through that tunnel and see the greatness on those walls as you go through that tunnel and come out to compete on those mats. And I was fortunate enough to have both my boys do it in the same year as brothers. And that's something that I'll never forget. They'll never forget, and we'll always have that.
Yeah.
And that was the goal that they had, was to come through that tunnel together at the state tournament.
And those opportunities don't come around every year.
Right. And that's something that like the Nelson boys.
Yeah.
They'll look back on that forever. They got to walk through those tunnels together and compete.
I think they finished second and fourth respectively. Second was
Zane. Last second loss in the finals, and probably the match of the tournament to the Kern kid, Luke Kern, and then Zach Nelson couldn't figure out Steiner. Steiner. He lost both his matches to Steiner and ended up finishing fourth. But both of them wrestled lights out, as the Waynedale team did. As the one Stanley made it to the finals. He'll be back as well. Zebulon Beam as a senior.
Who else did they lose?
They lose Zebulon Beam, and they lost one other kid who didn't make it to the state tournament. Other than that, they'll bring Wardell, both the Stanleys and both the Nelsons back, and and I believe they're adding a couple of junior high. I know a junior high state champ will be added to the team, and they got another junior high state placer. And they have another couple kids that were just a couple matches away from getting down there. They'll be in their lineup again.
Yeah, they did have a couple alternates, I think, at Garfield Heights.
Right.
Okay, well, we're going to hang out here for a few. Okay, if we don't have any wrestlers show up today, due to St. Patty's Day, NCAA wrestling, the basketball tournament, we'll have one more show before we finish the season. We also are talking about doing the lake tournament again this year. Last year we kind of had problems. It's an off-season tournament.
Outside? Was that the outdoor one?
Yeah, we kind of had problems with the moisture. We think we have that under control. We do need sponsors, guys. Our advertising is not expensive, and it'll be up probably till next year if you advertise with us.
www.nwn.tv.com.
Right. Go to that site. You can get a hold of the owner of the site, and we can work something out. Okay, well, we're going to wait around and see if someone shows up, and we'll be back.